In this week's episode of Working with Todoist, I'm going to show you how you can build your own daily workflow. Hello and welcome to episode 143 of my Working with Todoist series. My name is Carl Pauline, and in this week's episode I'm going to show you how you can build your own daily workflow system using Todoist's filters. Now, for every single one of us out there, this is going to be slightly different, but the reason I have created this daily workflow system is because since the beginning of this year, my kind of working schedule has changed a little bit. I spend a lot more time at home in my home office working on my writing and also developing online courses. Now, in order for me to do that, my working schedule has changed quite a little bit, because in the past I would leave the home at 7 o'clock in the morning, go out there and start teaching in various companies around Seoul, and come back at lunchtime, and then I would do a little bit of admin and go out and do some exercise, and then go out and teach again, and then come back in the evening. So my day was using multiple different devices throughout the day. So while I was out on the bus or on a train, I was using my phone to capture and check what I needed to do next in Todoist. And then when I got into the teaching schedule, I was writing down notes and then capturing the tasks afterwards. Now I'm spending a lot more time in the office doing a lot more online work and writing work, and that has meant that my workflow has needed to change. So I have created a number of filters where I would start at the top and I would work my way down throughout the day. I found that this is a fantastic system for being able to get yourself focused on the things that are truly important to you, and you're not wasting time procrastinating on things that are not important at all. So that's what I'm going to show you today. Before we go into Todoist, I really would just like to say, if you like this video, please click on the like button below, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe. Okay, let's get into Todoist and I'll show you what I mean. Right, so before we start, let me explain what the problem here is and one of the reasons why I actually prefer to use filters for my daily workflow. Now, it is quite easy to go into the Today view here on Todoist and just start hitting off and clicking off the tasks. Now, today is Saturday, so I don't really have a lot of businessy stuff to do. I certainly don't have any project work to do except record these videos. So today is actually quite quiet, and I only have 11 tasks left to do today. The thing is, on a say Monday to Friday, indeed actually from Sunday to Friday, this number here is likely to have 25 to 30 tasks. Now, when you look at that first thing in the morning, it can create a little bit of feeling of overwhelm and being just uncomfortable. So this is where filters come into to play. Now, what I have here, as you can see, is I've got 6 filters here, which essentially are the filters that I use on a daily basis, and each one is a descending order of priority. The only exception to that would be my home office, because that's when I can sit down, do focus work, click on that, and it's going to tell me what I need to do either at home, at my computer, or any of the tools that I have at my home. And I did cover that in a recent episode on filters maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if you're not sure about how I set that one up, you can go and have a look at that. I'll put a link in the notes below. But what I really want to do is focus on the workflow. So the first thing in the morning, I sit down at my computer, and I'm going to open up my 5-day objectives filter. Now, these are tasks that are today's objectives, hence the TO here, which stands for today's objectives. I have a label called today's objective, and I have these written down. Now, today, as I mentioned, is Saturday, so I haven't done my weekly review, so this is looking a little bit bare at the moment. But by the time I finish my weekly review tomorrow afternoon, these will have 2 or 3 I should say one or two tasks in there for objectives for each day of the week, which is why I actually have this set up as today's objectives, 7 days and today, because I really want to see that. So what I've got here is today I've got to complete 20 minutes of exercise today. The good news is I've actually done that, so I can click that one off. Tomorrow, that is a repeating task because I'm really focused on my exercise at the moment, so that's just popped back up for tomorrow. And of course, Sunday is my long run day. But what is happening here is the first thing I check in the morning is what one thing or two things do I have to complete today. That's why that's right up at the top, and I can see what I have to do. The reason why I've set this up for 5 days is because once, as I've done now, I've checked off that task, I can see what's coming up tomorrow, so it's nicely focused in my mind. I'm not likely to do my day's objective at 8 o'clock in the morning, but I will, when I do go in to complete it, it's done. Once that's done, once I know what I have to do today, I move into my today filter. Now, my today filter actually includes my inbox because there are things that I've captured overnight, or things that I've captured when I was doing my morning routine, which involves a cup of coffee and running through all the messages and emails that I've got in the morning. Yes, I know many people tell me you shouldn't be checking email first thing in the morning, but I actually enjoy that process. So that's all there. And then I've got down here the thing that I have to do today. Now, the beauty of it is today is Saturday. So all I have to do is clean the back of my computer, which is called Mathis, and clean the back of the TV because it gets quite dusty living here in Seoul because there's a lot of construction work to do. However, that normally has about 10 to 12 tasks that I have to do today, and that's what I would see. Once I've completed those tasks, now these tasks are the things that actually take my life further forward. They're not necessarily routines, although in this case it is a routine. And I should just show you what I've set up here. I've got P inbox today and not P4. P4 is not prioritized tasks. So that's what I've got in here. I then look, once I've finished those, then I can go into my today's routines folder, and that's just the label. Today and routine. So this tells me what I need to do today, and I will then go in there and I can complete these tasks as and when I need to do them. But these are the tasks that don't necessarily take my life further forward, and therefore they're not to me routines, so they're not to me important, so I will come to those at the end of the day. Most of these, except for the cleaning the back of TV, are all non-priority tasks, but they will be completed at some point today. Next filter up is what I call my next actions. Now, my next actions is every task in every project that I have. The top task, the next important task, the next task in the project has a label next actions. Now, what this means is that for each project that I do, as you can see down here, all my projects down here have at least one task which has labeled next actions. This is the very next action I need to do. So usually when I've completed my objectives, I've completed my day tasks, and I've completed my routines, if I still have time, then I will go into my next actions and say, right, I've got 30 minutes, what can I do? Well, in this case, if I've got 30 minutes, I could probably clean out my desk drawers. Bang, project minimalism has had the next action completed. And again, this is updated when I do my weekly review, when I go through the project, so I can add the next actions label to it. But this means that each project is moving forward every week because I've got an opportunity to see what next needs to happen. So every project that I have on at the moment has at least one next action. These are in no specific order, they're just in the order that the projects are. So if you're going to use this next actions filter, what I recommend is the projects that are priority, make sure that at the top of your projects list, and they will come up at the top of this list. Finally, then I get into this week. Now, this week is my kind of planning. What else do I have to do that is not routines, but actions that I want to do for the next, I think I've got this for 5 days, maybe 7. Let's just double check. It's 7 days, yes. So I can check to see what I've got coming up over the next few days, what's really going to be important that's not a routine. And as I say, I'm now at the end of my last weekly review process, so this is all looking very clean and tidy. But I can assure you on a Monday morning, there's 2, 3, maybe 5 tasks in each of these that I need to get done. So these are all the things that I've got set up left to do this week or next week. So for Wednesday is actually going to be a busy day. So I have a lot of things like here. I've got a podcast interview that I'm doing later next week, and on Wednesday I need to just review what the questions that have been sent to me and some of the things that the interviewer wants me to do. So there's quite a few things in there that I need to go and look at. And as I say, finally here is the home office, but that's where I'm working from, and that's really more of a label to do. As I mentioned in my filters episode a few weeks ago, blue means for mobile devices and black is really for planning. But really what I want to do is to show you this as a workflow. So first thing in the morning, I look at my daily objectives. Next, I move on to my today, and essentially I start working. Once I've finished those tasks, I will move into my today's routines and start hitting those off and get those all sorted out. And then I can look at my next actions if I have time. And then I've got planning, which comes up on this week. And this is my daily workflow. It is super fantastic. It keeps me focused on the important stuff that needs doing, and not necessarily meaning that I'm focused on things that are not important, like routines. Therefore, routines come after I've done all the other important stuff for the day. Okay, hopefully that's given you an idea of how you can build your own workflow using Todoist filters. They are amazing what you can create in filters. This is where, for those of you who really like playing around with your productivity apps, this is essentially your playground. You can come up with all sorts of different ways of setting up your filters. I will put a link to Todoist filters page so you can get another ideas. I've done this many times before, of course, but for those of you new, then you can have a look at that and see what you can come up with and try and create your own personalized, customized workflow system. Okay, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you all have got something out of this. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week.